Let's go, let's go. Alright, people wanna hate every day, it's okay.
All right, welcome back, Reckless Success. Tonight we got my beautiful wife, Lesa, back on.
Hello.
Lesa and I celebrated our 7-year wedding anniversary this past weekend.
Yeah.
9 years together.
Mm-hmm.
Like 11 or 12 if you add them all up. But it's been 11 or 12 of the best years of my life. So that was fun. We celebrated that. And we went to a local bar that we usually don't go to celebrate. They had what would you call it, like a cover band?
Yeah.
The
Cover rock band.
cover rock band. Really good.
Really good.
Epidemic. So if you see Epidemic in Southern Illinois, check them out.
Yeah, I'd see him again.
Yeah, I was impressed. While we were listening to this show, we noticed there's some other bars in town. We had a wristband so we could come in and out. So we're like, well, let's mosey down the road here and check it out. And we get down to the last bar, and there's no signs of like beer or open or anything. It's just a building, but you can tell there's a crowd because out front there's like cars, hippie vans, but we still didn't think nothing about it. So we did stand outside the door, and we were talking to each other like, do we just go in? Because we didn't know if it was an establishment or somebody's house.
Yeah, it almost looked like it might be a thrift store. Like it wasn't.
Right.
It didn't look like a bar, but there was definitely people inside, some type of music, and lots of vehicles outside.
Right. So we decided to go in. And when we went in, right away you could smell a strong smell of marijuana.
And see it.
I
was like, what is going on in here?
So, but we also noticed that there's like booths set up. Like vendor booth, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let's check it out. You know, we don't judge and we don't care. We like to see what everybody's walks of life are.
Yeah,
so we go in.
With anybody.
We're going to shop, give them a little bit of money. And we end up like in the back room where they're holding hands and doing their thing.
Some guy said that. Some guy was walking by and Jesse said like, hey, is this a bar? Or like, are we allowed in?
Right.
Like, what are we doing? Is it okay that we're here? And he was like, yeah, man. He was super nice. Yeah, like sit down, hang out.
It wasn't a bar.
It was a smoking lounge.
Yeah.
He said it was a smoking lounge, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either. So Lesa and I stumbled into a smoking lounge, which I think somebody told me there's only one in Illinois, and we happened to fall into it. So we did end up in the, I don't even know, the Spirit World room in the back.
He said they were having a little festival, and we're just like, wait, what? In the back of this little building? So of course we went to the festival.
Yeah, we went to the festival, and then they started talking about it being a lock-in sleepover, and I'm like, and they were also from Ohio and different states, and I remembered seeing their little school bus van outside, and I was like, wait a minute, are you guys the Rainbow People? And they were like,
no,
yeah.
I feel like you asked the girl, you said, have you ever heard of the Rainbow People? And she said, yeah, man, that's what
us.
this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, no way.
Yeah, I had no clue. I'd always heard of the Rainbow People and how they travel
me too,
across.
when I was a kid.
I remember I was like, I can give you canned goods and you'll give me drugs. And she's like, no, we'll just give you drugs. But
no way.
Yeah, I asked her. I was like, because used to when I was in high school, I'd always hear like you could take batteries and canned goods and whatnot and go down and trade it for shrooms or whatever. But yeah, so they were definitely having a good time. They had the hula hoops out, and there was a guy singing a song about weed.
Yeah.
And this is just us walking down the street. We just stumbled into this
place. But they did have a lot of cool. There was a guy doing tattoos in the corner.
There was a guy doing tattoos just in the corner. Nobody wearing shoes or anything.
And this is we're not judging as we tell the story. This was cool. And I love when people can
it's a very good
find
vibe.
Their own way. And they weren't judgmental of us, and they were welcoming that we were in their place, and they were like sleeping there and everything.
Yeah, they told us it was a lock-in
They said
sleepover.
we could stay the night. They're like, you guys can stay. It's real chill.
They're like, yeah, we'll just find a spot. There was no beds.
No.
I don't even know if I seen a bathroom, but
there had to be a bathroom somewhere.
Had to have been. Definitely no beds.
But there was like artwork and jewelry, homemade, and like hats and scrunchies and all kinds of different homemade things that we bought some of the stuff.
I bought a Captain Save-A-Ho that some guy 3D printed. It's a hat pin of a like ripped dude carrying a naked woman. I was just trying to donate to the guy's cause. I'm like, what is this? He's like, you don't know what that is? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's a Captain Save-A-Ho. Okay, I'll take 2, please. So they wanted us to sleep over, and I told Lesa, I said, Lesa, as much as I don't want to sleep in here with these people, because they were going to, like, play the guitar and serenade each other to sleep, they said it was real chill. I was like, I think we've got to do it just because, you know, for the story. But
I did not accept
we didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it was a good time. We didn't stay the night, but we met some new people, added some people on social media.
Yeah. Bought some
it was fun.
Cool things.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. I enjoy it because I'm glad that we're so similar that we could go do that, and neither of us was like, like, this is so bad, or this is all wrong. Like, well, we're not out there smoking weed with these people, but if they want to smoke, that's fine. I just had a cocktail down the road, so I'm chilling. And it's fun to do stuff with you because we're so like-minded.
The best part about it was a week before this, we went to Makanda and had ice cream with our boys.
Which is like our own little hippie town in Southern Illinois. It's super cool. They have like a little boardwalk with an ice cream store, and different artists have full-on stores there. It's not even booths.
They have festivals.
Yeah, it's a cool
Vulture
place.
Fest.
It's in Shawnee National Forest, so you can go hike and then hit up these little shops, get ice cream. It's super cool down there.
So we were there, and there's this guy strumming the guitar on the boardwalk, and we stopped and listened for a second. But it wasn't sketchy, but he didn't talk much, and it was just kind of, we didn't really get to know him.
Yeah.
So while we're at this rainbow gathering, we sit by this fireplace, and we sit down in these big, like, nice chairs. They had nice furniture.
Yeah.
It wasn't like metal folding chairs.
No.
This is like a big old nice chair. And we're sitting there, and I look, and I'm like, Lesa, that's the guy from Makanda that we just met last weekend. So I yell to the guy who's like 5 feet away from me. I'm like, hey, we just met you in Makanda. And he didn't acknowledge me. But then a couple seconds later, he looked over like this, and when he seen us, he went, and he turned away real quick, and he never would look back.
Like he saw a ghost. Like he was terrified by us. Like
Lesa was looking like we just came from a PTO meeting or something. Like she's all dressed up, nails done, looking perfect, and we're in here hanging out with these hippies, and this dude seriously thought we looked out of place. He never looked back.
Yeah.
To the point. And though we didn't smoke, I laughed like a motherfucker. So I was, when I seen that guy's eyes go like that, and then I asked you if you saw it, and you said yes.
I think we both were laughing already.
We were dying, and then us laughing got all the other hippies around us laughing.
Because they were definitely tripping on something.
The guy was like, I don't even know what we're laughing about. I was just dying. And though we didn't partake, for the first time ever, I think, we went straight and got fast food after we left the bar.
Right? We never get late night fast food. We've been eating very healthy lately.
We have. And I thought about that the next morning.
Gosh.
I thought, what did we do last night? And
we probably got a contact buzz.
I don't think that's a real thing.
I don't know.
If it is, we probably got one.
Right, we never go eat fast food late at night.
For some reason, we were at Sonic
and it was delicious.
It was delicious. I just woke up to a bunch of Sonic, and I'm thinking, what happened last night? It was a rainbow fest.
Yep.
So fun things like that happen to us often.
Yeah.
We always get into those situations.
Super bizarre stuff.
So yeah, I've always gotten along with people, it seems like, throughout life, no matter who they are. One time, we were all drinking in Carbondale, which we were underage. It was like the house parties. And we got into a fight at Old National parking lots where everybody would park, right?
Yeah.
And me and my friends, I think I was just drunk and dumb and yelled something out. And like 3 carloads of guys stop at this light. We're like 17. They're all college guys. You know?
My God.
All my buddies take off and leave me. Kristen Scott, I think, is the one that stayed with me, luckily, and kept everybody from jumping me, because there was like 20 of these guys. I was blackout drunk. I'm like, all right, somehow, so I'm walking down the strip in Carbondale by myself after all my buddies left me. We're about to get in this fight. And I see this guy in the back of a truck, and they're pulling out, and I was wasted, and I knew I needed to get all the way to Carterville somehow.
Oh, God.
And this guy's in the back of this truck, and he's like, hey, man, you want to ride? And I'm like, it was like a little Dodge Dakota or something. I'm like, hell yeah. Who knows where I thought we were going? I got in the back of a random truck with some random dude. And the driver of the truck, we're in the bed of the truck, pulls out of like Old National parking lot and fishtails all the way down the strip. And I'm in the back of this truck, drunker and shit, have no clue who any of these people are. And we're fishtailing by the Dairy Queen and fishtailing. And all of a sudden the truck gripped and it went right into the movie theater on the strip. If you drive by the Carbondale movie theater, the one that's on the strip.
The Varsity. Is that what it's called?
The Varsity, yeah. And you look at it, you can see different color bricks in the shape of a vehicle. And that's where the front of that truck. So he went through, and the tires were still spinning. Like, we done came off the road, went through the brick building.
And you're in the back of the truck.
I'm in the back of the truck. I mean, like, when he hit the brick building, the truck went through it pretty good, but, like, it still jarred me because he hit the whole sidewalk and shit up into it. Oh, my God. But the guy that was back there with me, he just hopped out and took off walking. And the truck tires are still spinning, so now I hop out.
Was the driver passed out or something, you think? Still hitting the gas?
I was almost passed out myself. So I just know that it was still like, you know, and I'm like getting out of the damn thing. So my first ride didn't work out. Then I staggered down the road a little bit, and I don't know how I became in the car with these 3 old women that were the sweetest little old ladies. It was like the Golden Girls. I swear, I'm like a 17-year-old about to puke all over himself just drunk. And I remember looking over, and this like little 90-year-old lady was knitting something in the back seat, and these other 2 ladies, it's like my 3 grandmas. And
you were in the car? Like you got in with them?
Yeah, I was in their car. And at like 2 in the morning, they were taking me. I remember when I realized what was going on, we were coming across Crab Orchard Lake. At the bridge, and I'm like looking outside, and I'm like, fuck, what's going on here? I'm like looking beside me, this little old lady's knitting, and they took me all the way to my mom's house and dropped me off.
No way.
And then the next day I was thinking like, damn, did we get in a wreck? And I drove by that theater, and it was all blocked off, and there was a whole shit, we did. Another time, me and Greg were over there for his birthday at the house parties in Carbondale. And it was like his 17th birthday. And the college guys found out it was his 17th birthday. Mm-hmm. So they made him do like 17 keg stands. Oh. And I'm like, and we're just little kids hanging out at a college party and don't know anybody. We just had $5 for a cup or whatever, you know.
It's so crazy you guys would show up there and party and everybody let you. Like, I didn't hang out with anyone. There was never underage kids at parties I was at in college. Really? It was just a different time. Not unless I just didn't know.
I just didn't know.
I guess.
There's always.
I guess you're right. Maybe I wasn't actually hanging out with them, like talking to them,
right.
So maybe I just didn't know they were there, lurking in the corners.
We was the ones bringing the nitrous balloons. What are you talking about? Like you're thinking there ain't no underage kids. I was the one that was bringing all the supplies.
That's funny.
So me and Greg end up in this bedroom of this house party, and there's like 3 full kegs, untapped kegs. And we look, and there's a window unit. And Greg's like, dude, let's take the kegs. We're at this random party, but we found where they have their kegs stored.
Oh, no.
He's like, let's throw the kegs out the window. Go get your truck.
Stop it.
And we'll go back to Carterville and have a party. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And all of a sudden, Greg goes and wham, and kicks the fucking window unit. And the whole thing just went and disappeared out the window. And you heard this big crash.
What?
And I'm like, damn, I didn't know you were going to do it like that. Like, this dude just goes over and fucking Jackie Chan kicks it. So it falls out. About that same time, the door flies open.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it looks to me like the whole football team's standing there.
Oh, my God.
And me and Greg are in this room. And we were drunk. So I slipped on by. They were all mad at Greg because he was standing by the AC. They knew he had just kicked it out. And they kicked the door open. I'm standing by the door, and I just kind of mosey on by him because I'm going to get my truck to come back and get the kegs, I'm thinking.
Oh, my gosh.
I also knew it wasn't good, but I was still going to go get the truck. It's in my mind. I get back to the truck.
But wait, before you finish your story, this same guy you're talking about, I remember at a party in Carterville once when I was in high school that some people were outside smoking or something, and they came back and they're like, hey, we're going to call the guy's house Joe. someone's throwing a bunch of Joe's clothes and stuff outside his bedroom window. And we're all like, what? So we go to Joe's room and everybody opens the door. And the same guy is hanging halfway out the door with a guitar in his hand, dude's guitar, Joe's guitar, and was stealing his clothes and his guitar. And we're all like, bro, what are you doing?
What?
I don't remember what he said. I feel like he said he was borrowing the clothes or something.
Yeah, I was just going to borrow this
and
stuff.
I was going to take the guitar outside and play some music. And we're like, you're going out the window? And I think everybody beat him up. I don't know, not me, but, you know.
He'd always get beat up.
That is too much. He's like a little window thief.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to yours. So you leave to get your truck.
I go get my truck. This is my younger days when I would drink and drive. And I get my truck and I get in it. And I'm coming back to get the kegs. But something was more important down in the floorboard. So I was driving like this. And all of a sudden, bam, I hit a telephone pole.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, shit, I hit the telephone pole and I hit it on the right tire. Like the whole right of my little S10 came in, hit the tire, bent the tire out. I get the truck to the side of the road. Like I hit the telephone pole and basically bounces me back into the road. I get out and I look at my truck. I'm like, oh, it's fucked. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I was drunk. And I took off walking down the street. Poor Greg. If you're wondering about the guy at the house party that I left, they beat him up. They burned his coat. And he took off walking all the way back to Carterville.
Which is how far miles? I don't know.
6 or so, I would say.
Oh, I thought it'd be way more than that.
It might be.
I'm a bad judge of distance.
Yeah.
Go ahead, though.
That works out to my benefit. Anyway, so I'm walking down the road and it's starting to rain. It's late at night. I'm on the verge of puking and like just dying in a corner somewhere. And these two guys are like, hey man, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. And they're like, you need a place to stay? I was like, yeah. And they're like, you can sleep in our van.
Stop.
So
oh my God.
I get in this van apparently, and I get in the back and I sleep because I wake up the next morning. It's probably like 10 o'clock. I open my eyes, and there's like the side van doors open. There's these two dudes standing there looking at me, and they're like waking me up. And they're like, hey, man, hey. And I'll wake up. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, hey, man, we got to go somewhere. You're going to have to get up. And I was like, all right, bro. And I got up. So two random dudes just let me sleep in their van. They had a house. They were in the house.
No way.
I slept in the van.
What nice guys.
They were nice. And so I get out of the van.
You're lucky so many bad things never happened to you. You are always in really bad positions.
I know.
It's crazy. You got really lucky a lot.
I did get lucky. It ain't because they didn't try.
Oh.
Have we told any of those stories?
No.
God, I could do a whole podcast episode of guys that won't fucking leave me alone.
Last episode, we actually talked about how often you get hit on by men, but we did not dive into how many times men have actually tried to date rape drug Jesse and take advantage of him when he was drunk.
I don't know what it is. Something about that alcohol gets some guys feeling frisky or something.
I don't know either.
So, where was I at before that?
They woke you up.
They woke me up. So then I take off walking down the road, and I'm looking for my truck, and I have no clue.
You forgot?
I went to Old National. It's not there. So I start walking up down streets in Carbondale, where I would be at, you know? And all of a sudden I see the back end of it, and I get up and the whole thing's crashed. I'm like, oh, man, I hit that telephone pole. Oh. While I'm sitting there, feeling down for myself, the dude come out of his house, a different dude that I hadn't met. This is before cell phones. He's like, hey, you need to use the phone? I'm like, yeah. He let me come in and used his phone and waited for my parents to get there to figure out how to get my truck home. Yeah.
Were they so pissed?
No. I know. What? Why? I don't know. No, they took it. They sent over the guy who burned his hand with the liquid fire and that stole all that shit, like the Porsche and the boat. They sent him over, actually, and he shows up. He straightened out, he adjusted the tie rod to get the tire to come in somewhat, but it was still pointed like this. We got it back to my parents' house. My stepdad took the front of the truck. The subframe was bent, so he chained it to a telephone pole, and then he chained it to his backhoe, and he pulled it straight back out.
It
and
worked?
that was it. Yeah.
No way.
I mean, it didn't make it
perfect, but
yeah, it was all fucked up, and you could tell my headlight was all busted, and my truck was jacked, but it was drivable. I think right when he got done pulling it out, I'd done a little one-wheel burnout out of the gravel driveway and went partied some more.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I have to throw in this one Carbondale story because most of mine are pretty basic. I have one funny one. It made me think of when you're about the 3 kegs in the room. Because I really didn't go to Carbondale in high school much, like very few times, like a handful. But one time I did go with 2 of my girlfriends to a house party there. And she was like, would water ski. So she was friends with, maybe they have a ski team at SIU, I guess. So
Probably.
It was like a ski team party that we went to. And we walk into this house. We don't know anyone, of course. And we walk in this room and there's all these people in there, like a lot of people. And we don't really talk to anyone directly. Like no one's really looking at us, but I don't remember if I yelled like, where's the keg or something, and no one looked at us, and we were like, that was awkward. So then we kind of walked around a little bit more in the party and said something. Someone of us said something else like, anyone know where the cups are? Like no one looked at us again. And we're like, what the fuck? Like they just don't want us here. Do they know that we're super young? And finally, one of the ski team guys walked in and was like,
you're at a death party.
Yes!
Stop.
We were!
No.
We really were!
Stop.
We really were. The dude that knew my friend, we're going to call her Tina, was like, hey, Tina, what's up? She's like, hey. She's like, hey, I don't think anybody wants us here, man. Like, no one will acknowledge us. And he's like, oh, man, they're all deaf. I swear to God.
Funny.
He's like, these are my friends so-and-so, like, so-and-so's deaf and so-and-so. And so everyone, he looked around. He's like, yeah, everybody in this room's deaf. And,
That is funny.
Yeah. Anyway, it was so funny. We're like, you got to be kidding me. That was my one college party while I was in high school.
Right. I thought you were going to tell the time about when I came to Levels.
No, I was in college then.
So I don't do good in social settings when alcohol's involved.
Jesse
I do
doesn't,
now.
but you don't drink that much. Like,
Right.
Jesse doesn't get wasted and doesn't take shots, which I don't either. But I will drink more if we're going out than you. But you don't just sit there. Like, you just don't really get that drunk, honestly.
Right.
And you have more control over your emotions and your temper too
Than I used to.
than you did when you were young. So after we broke up, when we had said I was 19, so you were probably what, 23, 22?
Yeah.
We're 3 years
22.
apart.
Yeah.
And so at some point, which this is we just always stayed distant friends. So at some point, I think I was 21 at this point, I was always out in Carbondale partying. I went to college there. And so at some point we had talked and I'm like, oh, you should come out sometime. I hang out at the bars in Carbondale all the time. We have a great time every weekend, me and my friends. And you were like, okay, yeah, I'll come out there. So I haven't hung out with Jesse in years at this point. And this one club was called
Who was
Callie's.
that with?
Was
Dirty
it
Shane.
Kentucky?
It might have been.
I almost think it was or was it that couple that you were friends with?
Could be.
So I don't know. It was a friend. Jesse came with a friend, and I was there with some friends, and it was early in the night. And this was a club. It wasn't just one of the college bars. It was a club, atmosphere. And so we go in there. I literally think we talked for a very short period of time. Maybe had one drink. Next thing I know, there's a big bar fight, and who's in the middle of it but Jesse? And I was like, dude. People
What
really didn't
really
bar fight
happened-
that much at the college bars.
I love to fight at this age.
Yeah.
At this age, I used to love to fight. So I would just be looking around the bar for somebody to look at me.
Look at you funny. But yeah, I think,
Yeah.
and then finally the fight was, I don't know what was going on there, and you had to leave because you were going to get in trouble. They probably called the cops.
I would always run.
You ran past me, you were like, I gotta go. And I was like,
Every
see
time
ya.
I get in a fight, after I got done mostly whooping the person or however the fight ended, I always juked it. Get the hell out of there. And it saved
you
me from
did.
getting arrested
you
so
ran
many
past
times.
me on the way out, and I was thinking, I haven't seen him in
Hey,
3 years.
You were like, there goes my love.
Yes, I don't know if I was singing that.
It was actually a blooper fight because whatever had happened, it was the guys behind me. I'm at a table and there's tables and their backs are against me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember how the fight started, but they were bumping me. Me and this guy get into it and he goes down on the ground and I get on top of him. And while I'm on top of him, I feel somebody hit me. So I'm and there's kind of he had a bunch of buddies and they were kind of not doing anything but putting their weight on us from behind. And I slid my head out and I stood up and they were all still kind of fighting with each other on the ground.
What?
And I was standing there and I was like, okay.
And then you just left.
Took off running. Yeah, I'd always take off running. We should have dump truck on somebody.
I was singing that the other day that we didn't have a dump truck on. Hold on,
He could tell you a lot of fighting stories.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him on. But no, what's funny about, I have to add before we wrap up this, move on. Even though Jesse doesn't get drunk and bar fight anymore, and he hasn't for a long time. Not that long ago, I don't know, I guess I was talking about how he needed new like dressier boots, not just like work style boots. And so we were kind of like looking at him while we were at the store, and he was like, I don't know, I just don't know if I want these kind of boots. I'm like, wow, they look good. Like when we have date nights, you can wear these dressier boots. And he's like, all right, look, like I don't get in fights with people. I'm beyond that. But if we're ever out and something goes down, I want to make sure my boots have some grip on them. And all the dress boots like slip and slide, but like the work boots like are steel toes and they're like, grip the ground. Right. And he was like, so I just don't think I'm going to wear any dress boots anytime ever. And I was like, that's fair. He's like, I don't plan on fighting people, but if something went down,
I'll be out there in the asphalt like a tap dancer sliding.
Yeah. And I actually like that you think that way, because you're like a man's man. So you're like not going to put yourself in a position with me out that something does happen and you can't properly defend us because you've got like little tap dance, like glass slippers on, that slip and slide on the ground.
Right.
But it made me laugh at that. In the back of your head, even though you don't act like that, you're like, I'm still always ready.
I'm analyzing everything.
Yeah.
We walk in a store, I'm like zeroing in, analyzing, and you're just free loving.
Living my best life. Thank you.
That's what I'm there for.
I appreciate that. I don't have to worry about anything.
We're just like always going on these little adventures.
Yeah.
Like whatever. We always find ourselves in funny spots that
but
we feel like we belong. Yeah, we have a good time. Nobody judges us places we go. Like at the Rainbow Gathering.
No, they were the coolest people ever.
Yeah.
I feel more judged walking into a local bar or restaurant than walking into there. They didn't
Trust me, the judges are all giving you 10s.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
My biggest fan over here.
Yeah, so we just always fit in different places we go. Like, for example, the time we were at New Orleans for a wedding, Lisa and I were going to go to the Garden District.
Yeah. But we were staying, like, I don't know what it's called, downtown.
Yeah, we were pretty close to
Bourbon Street, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty close to Bourbon Street. And I've got a warrant because I never got that taken care of.
Yeah.
And we're going to rent these, like, little electric bikes, like the birds.
Yeah, it was like, I think you pedaled, but they were also electric, so they got
You would get pedaling,
fast.
and then they would take off electric.
Yeah,
like,
they were
once you
fun.
got... You did have to work a little bit, but then they'd
Those
go
were a good
fast.
time.
And we're going to ride across town.
It was a little bit far, I think. Farther than we thought.
By the end of the day, my ass was hurt.
Yeah.
So we're going.
We pulled up on our GPS, Garden District. Like, we can get there. We can ride bikes there for sure.
Yeah, we fit in. So we're going down the street, and we're just pedaling on these, like, teal bicycles.
We end up at the interstate.
Lisa's all dressed up. I'm all dressed up. Yeah, we were under the interstate. Like, the interstate's above us, and we're underneath, like, the underpass or
but
whatever.
we were determined. Like, we were not going to stop and get an Uber or take our vehicle to the Garden District. Like, we were going to get there on these bikes.
We were going to take these bikes. And I start looking around, and we're at a homeless encampment. Like, the whole under this place is tents and stuff. And Lisa looks like she's just riding Miss Daisy with her little Louis Vuitton.
I had like a flowy
fucking purse on
shirt
her back.
on, so my shirt was like flowing in the wind.
Right.
On this like, what are those bikes called? Like a cruiser.
Yeah, it was a cruiser.
With a basket on the front. I remember you looked over and you said, pedal faster.
You look like Dorothy.
Yes.
On her little bike. But yeah, I realized where we were, and Lisa's like, oh, look. They're camping. And I was like, Lisa, they're not camping. Go faster.
We are in their home.
Yeah, and it was like crazy because every block we would turn, we kept getting deeper and deeper into it. We just like pedaled right through. I'm sure these people.
I've never pedaled so fast in my whole life.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it wouldn't have taken much to overtake us on our little bikes.
If we like to just get dropped off, we'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like,
when we went to the Shameless house in Chicago.
That's what I was thinking. Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I forgot about that.
You've got pictures of that.
I do. We can put pictures of that.
If not, I've got them.
So we went to another friend's wedding in Chicago, and this was before we were married. So this was like 8 years ago, and I think Chicago's changed a lot in the last 8 years, unfortunately. Like, it was
pretty
safer.
wild then, too.
It was. Chicago's always a city. There's always dangers, but I think it's worse now. However, we were sightseeing before the wedding, and stopped somewhere to get lunch, have a drink. And remember, we asked the bartender, you found out something. You're like, let's go to the Shameless house.
Shameless was big, like coming out with seasons.
So you were like, I wonder where it's at. And you asked the bartender, and he's like, oh, it's in whatever neighborhood off whatever street. And you said, I think we're going to go there. And he was like, oh, no. Like, don't go there. That's in a really bad part of town. And we were like, but like, we could go there. Yeah. And the bartender was like, I really don't recommend you guys going there. And so, of course, we
first
booked
thing
an Uber.
Get an Uber. Let's go there. And as we're going there,
same thing. The progression of the neighborhood quickly got a little scary.
It was getting worse because I'm asking the driver of the Uber, I'm like, so you just wait, or like you drive us there and we'll check it out and drive us back. And he's like, no. Yeah. He's like, I pick you up and I drop you off.
He said, I'm not waiting for you guys.
He said, I'm not waiting for you and I'm not taking you with me.
We're like, we'll pay. Like, we'll give you, the whole time you're there, we'll pay you money. He's like, I'm not parking there. I'll drop you guys off.
Yeah.
And you got to call another Uber. And we're like, shit.
So we're like, that's fine. You know, we can get dropped off in the hood. We've done it before. So as we're going, we're passing more and more stoops that are full of people. And I'm like looking out the window and I'm looking at my pretty wife there. And I'm like, are you sure we should get dropped off here?
Yeah, right. I think I was like, are you sure we should get dropped off here? And you're like, we're good. Yeah, it's all good.
So we got dropped off at the Shameless house. We actually had a great time.
Yeah, it was excellent.
It was so cool.
The neighbors were so nice. And it was the main house, Kevin V's house, and then Frank's girlfriend, Sheila's house. We're all right there in a row, and like the camper was out back, so we got tons of pictures, and the neighbors were
the camper bus or van.
Yeah,
that van.
The neighbor Jesse was like, I'll pay you, because they kind of like watched the house too. They said that the production crew paid them to make sure people didn't deface the houses, because they actually live across the street and stuff. And Jesse asked the guy like, hey, could I pay you a little bit of money to take our picture on the porch?
So there's a fence around the yard.
Yeah.
You can't just walk up to the porch of the house. And there's like signs, don't go in. Mm-hmm. So I asked the guy, can we get in there? But in my mind, I'm thinking he's going to say something like $100, $500, something, you know. And he was like, man, I can't. I was like, come on, man, let's go sit on the porch and get some pictures. Because we were into this show at the time. We were watching it all the time. And he's like, all right. And I was like, all right, how much? And he's like, $5. And I was like, $5? That's it? To go up to get in the gate was only $5? I was like, hell, here's 20.
Yeah.
So we got to go in. We sat on the porch. We did the opening credits, like how the opening credit is, flipping off the camera. Yeah. But we got their normal pictures.
And we got an Uber. Luckily, someone came and picked us back up and took us back, and nothing bad happened, luckily.
That all remind me of a show called Folks, Folks.
I've never seen it.
We should watch it sometime. It's really good.
Really?
It's about this guy that's parents have dementia. So he's trying to get rid of them because, like, they want to die. They want to die together, the parents, and they know they got dementia or whatever. Yeah. It's just too much for the kids. So the kid's trying to get rid of the parents. And he, like, drops them off at this biker bar.
And they always make their way back.
And then, like, the parents come pulling back up, and they're on the back of the motorcycles, and the biker gang pulls up.
We are just like that.
Yeah, we found your mom. And then they drop them off in the hood, and, like, the hoopty pulls back up, and the parents, the old people.
That's exactly like us.
Yeah. We find ourselves in some funny situations.
We find ourselves out of them every time.
Yeah. But we have fun together.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, if we wanted to talk a little business, if you're ready for that, or I could go back and we could still talk I was going to tell some prison stories tonight, but I feel like we should save those for another night and talk about what a big day we've had, because today we bought a 750K dozer, or made a deal on one. So pretty excited about that. It's a John Deere 750. It wasn't an easy process to buy this dozer.
Not at all.
I get these wild hairs that I need something, and it's like I've got to have this thing tonight or my oxygen levels is going to fall off.
I think we talked about this on the last episode on all of our little fly-by-night trips. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch that episode, you know Jesse will be like, I have to have this machine today.
I need this shit yesterday.
Now or never.
Pronto. So we knew we wanted a dozer. I was looking at like a 700 to a 750.
Yeah, or D6N.
Or a D6N. The 700 is just a little too light, which means I'm not going to be able to push as much dirt. I've never been in a dozer and thought, I wish I had a smaller dozer. You're always wishing you had more dozers. So we went searching for a 750, and luckily my dad, who is retired, can still drive around, and he loves sightseeing and driving. So
He does love driving.
yeah, we called him up, and he went on a wild goose chase for me to go look at the dozers. And the important part about this is we're spending a bunch of money, so somebody's got to lay eyes on this dozer that I trust. And one of the biggest things is the scams nowadays. You can call somebody on. I've seen so many ads, and you did too. Mm-hmm. As we're filtering for this dozer to look for dozers on the internet, I couldn't believe how many ads were scams that look legit.
Incredibly legitimate, like
sponsored. They got business. You can Google
they have
review.
Full website with photos of the sales guys, their individual cell phone numbers, their professional emails, videos of the machines running, like all this. It looked so thorough. And I don't know, these ones that we reached out to one was a scam, but that one in West Virginia, I don't know if it's a scam per se.
It's just a pain in the ass.
But it's a bait and switch scenario. Yeah. So they advertise that they have all this equipment on their yard at this address in West Virginia. Come see us, yada yada. So we line up Scott to drive to West Virginia at the crack of dawn. They have two that we're interested in. But this is on a Sunday, so we can't call them at that point. But again, they've got these ads on Facebook. They've got them on their websites. They've got them on Machinery Trader. It's everywhere.
And I had talked to them. So that was on Sunday. I had talked to them on Thursday and verified that they had the dozers. They're like, yeah, we got the dozers. I was like, okay, there's a chance I could have a guy come out. So I'm thinking, well, it's the weekend. They had two. Mm-hmm. They're going to have one. So my dad heads that way. And, of course, for a business, if they are a business, I don't know. It took me till noon to get somebody to answer the phone.
Yeah, no one in the construction world is not open by 7 at the very latest, 8 a.m.
It was bad.
And their voicemails were weird. They weren't like normal.
It didn't go to one. It would just be like, the voicemail's full.
Yeah.
And then, so I finally get a hold of somebody at noon. My dad's already up.
On his way.
In West Virginia almost. I mean, he left at 5 o'clock, so it's noon now. He's almost there. And I get a hold of the guy, and he's like, yeah, we've got those two dozers, but they're in Pennsylvania. And I'm like, Pennsylvania? Your ad said West Virginia. I was like, well, how far is Pennsylvania from you? Another 8.5 hours. It's like, dude, he just drove 9 hours to get to you. I'm not shipping something that far. But what I am noticing, what we're noticing is down south, you can get a lot, like a dozer with half the hours for the same price as you can up north. And it's got to have something to do with population or
just the availability
shipping them
of them
from Germany or wherever they're coming from.
Know.
But we look in Texas, we can find a lot of decent price stuff, low hours. We look up in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, it's all high hours for the same price.
Before we move on from that, though, I just want to share more about the scam stuff because I think it's really prevalent. Like, there was one dozer that looked like a great option, and again, all the formalities had been done for advertising this thing on the website and everything. And Jesse started messaging with the guy, but like once he was talking about coming to actually see it, the guy started ghosting him, and Jesse's like, look up this equipment company. So I'm calling the numbers listed. One's out of service, one goes to nowhere. There's like 2 addresses for it. And so that's all weird. So we didn't pursue that, of course. But then I took our kids to get their hair cut at the barbershop tonight and was telling him about our dozer, I guess. And he told me his dad just got scammed for 30 grand buying a skid steer online. Same thing. Super legitimate looking company, top-notch customer service, great customer reviews on Google, on Facebook, everywhere. He was buying it sight unseen. They sent videos. I mean, it seemed super legit. And the guy, a smart dude, a businessman, and as soon as he wired the money, they ghosted him, and like the FBI is involved. But he's like in shock. He probably won't get his money back, but because he's like, I mean, every question I asked, any information I needed from them, they provided it right away. Their phone, everything was legit. I mean, it was like a full functioning business. The only thing he didn't do was drive halfway across the country to visibly see it, which, like we had said, we did that once, which I don't think we do it again, but we have. It's not that uncommon to buy equipment without seeing it when you're across the country if you have a big operation. And, so yeah, he's just straight up out.
The scammers have definitely infiltrated the equipment world.
And they are doing a good job, like looking legit.
And it made it a nightmare trying to find something that was real.
Yeah, so we would find other ones and send Scott on his way this direction and then be like, wait. Never mind, none of the phone numbers work.
Every time we
turn around and go back the other way. He was probably about to kill us.
We've got to get a map and show. Cause the time we went to Texas, we went down, up, and then back over.
And show your dad's route. Oh, my God.
Back.
Totally east. He went down. We sent him to Louisiana.
He's in Baton Rouge.
So he went all across.
He went from Illinois, West Virginia, Baton Rouge.
Oof.
Yep. That's what parents are for, right?
I guess. What's funny, the poor guy, he had said when originally he was only going to go to Southern Alabama, he's like, I might book me a fishing charter.
Trip.
I've never done that before. I've never been by the Gulf by myself where I could take a fishing charter out. And instead he drove for 3 days straight.
No, so he's like, oh, hell, if I'm going to go to Alabama, like Lesa said, he's going to go fishing. I'm like, you're not going to Alabama, you're going to West Virginia. So he left all his fishing stuff here. And he went to West Virginia. Didn't even look at anything. I turned him around and sent him back to Alabama.
Oh.
He was like, he drove 12 hours. And he was 2 hours. Like that night, he left in the morning. That night, I was talking to him. He was only 2 hours away. And he'd been driving 12.
From home.
And he had 12 to go. Yeah, I was like, hell,
he
you
made
might
it
as well
nowhere.
Just come home and sleep and try again tomorrow.
And that was our fault.
Yeah, it was our fault.
Sorry, Scott.
So we're excited about that. We bought.
Okay, we can get back to the dozer that you found.
Us a new 750K. It's not brand new. It's a late model. I don't have a desire to buy a brand new dozer or Traco. There's
I don't
so much
either.
money. I mean, $500,000, and it's not going to do anything different than one that's.
I'm with you.
Got 5,000 hours on it or something like that. Our last dozer, we sold it at 14,000 hours. Mm-hmm. So 5,000 hours. The one we bought has 5,000 hours. We probably won't put 2,000, maybe 1,000 a year on it because, we just don't do full-time dozer work. We're back and forth. We need a dozer on this job. It might sit for a week. Then we might need it the next week type stuff. But, yeah, do your due diligence on finding the equipment. It just shows you, by us going down to Baton Rouge, our freight quote on the dozer, which weighs like 40,000 pounds, 38, was what, 2,500?
Yeah, which was
That's
actually
so cheap.
Super cheap. So when
that sounds like a scam.
I know, but maybe that guy said he had some good freight guys, so he must have a relationship with them. But it was 4,500 from Shreveport to Southern Illinois, and I think around the same from Southern Georgia to Illinois with the Tracos. So it's very strange, but maybe they can haul the dozer and something else this way. Like, would a dozer and something else fit, or no?
No, they're pushing it with just that dozer. It's going to take up.
I don't know.
Take up most of the weight that trucks
Hopefully
are
we
ready
didn't
for.
get scammed.
Yeah, hopefully it ain't us.
Hopefully the dozer shows up here.
Right. Damn, I hope it does too.
I know.
We'll tell you next week if we actually got the dozer. This week we bought the dozer. Next week we'll find out if we actually
showed up.
received the dozer. I wish it was our same driver from the 245.
Yeah, but he was out of Georgia, so it probably is not.
I thought it was Shreveport where we got the 245.
No, that was the link belt.
Anyways, be careful for scammers. And that goes all the way down. I may have already brought this up before, but QuickBooks, anything that you do.
We didn't talk about QuickBooks.
We didn't?
This is an episode about scamming.
Yes.
So this happened a long time ago when we first started our business, and we use QuickBooks, which is super helpful and efficient and totally works. But I had different issues starting out learning it because I didn't know anything about it, and I don't know anything about accounting. I've learned as I went, and our great account that we have now has been super helpful. But I had called the customer service several times in the past, and I would always just Google QuickBooks customer service. It would pop up as like the first thing, QuickBooks.com with their phone number under it. You call it. The recording's always the same. The options are always the same. It was familiar to me because I'd called them several times, and I was having some hang up with who knows what. So I do that same thing. I Google the number. I call it. The same hold music comes on, the same options. I press the option I need. The guy comes on, and they'll remote into your computer. Like, that's a normal thing they do. Like, we're going to send you this passcode, you hit accept or whatever, or you give me a code, and they're on your computer, which is, I'm always like, ugh, but you kind of got to do it. Yeah, it's a screen share with them. So the guy needs to screen share. And I'm like, yeah, okay, because they do it all the time. I let him screen share and he's looking around, helping me figure this stuff out. And then he's like, oh, I see what the problem is. You need to add X, Y, and Z. I don't remember what it was. And he said, but to add that, it's $499. And I was like, what?
In Apple gift cards.
Yeah, no, he just needed my card number,
Right.
which he's already in our literal, like, all our banking stuff's in there. And I was like, dude, I'm like, you guys have never charged me extra to fix something like about accounts or help me set something. I'm like, well, what? And I still didn't think it was a scam. I was just kind of ticked off because I'm like, what the heck? And then, like, as we keep talking and he keeps, like, encouraging me that I really need to pay it or it's not going to work and all that stuff, I was thinking, like, oh, my God, this guy's in my computer and I'm being scammed. So I don't let him know that I'm, like, acknowledging, like, that I'm realizing this. And I'm like, I got to talk to my husband. I'll call back in to do this. So I, like, end the screen share as far as I can tell and call Jesse. I'm like, I am such an idiot. But luckily I knew this guy that had worked on computers, like in IT at my previous job. And I had his number from work stuff when I'd have to call him. And I called him like, could you work on my home laptop? Like, I think I literally just gave away everything to this person.
You call the actual QuickBooks and they said, yeah, we wouldn't have charged you
I
for
did,
that.
but first I called the computer guy, and so I brought him my computer, and he got it fine. He said, yeah, they were like tearing down my firewall, doing all this stuff, so he fixed it all.
Right.
But they were on their way to just, I mean, all of our information's on there. Ugh,
Yeah,
I was such an
it's a little
idiot.
scary.
But I wasn't like that. It was so legit. I mean, they had their hold music, their options, their freaking phone number, like everything was legit.
Right.
The guy talked like he knew exactly how QuickBooks worked, just like one of their reps would. So that's why it was so scary. But I think I probably did call QuickBooks to confirm, but I knew, I was like, I just got scammed.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. I mean, if you set up if you need like a DUNS number on sam.gov, like we've talked about to do government contracting, like they'll put all over their website, this is a free service, you don't have to pay. But I know someone that paid like $1,000 to have it set up because someone, you Google it and then
Right.
all these ads come up, like and encourage it, you have to pay to have them do it. Yeah, she just got ripped off.
Scammers everywhere. Just taking people's money.
Yeah, it sucks. So you got to be on guard with.
Taking their $200.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we've been scammed before,
Mm-hmm.
not on nothing big, and like usually the banks they'll reimburse whatever you get scammed. Our cards have been hacked quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's always a pain in the ass because then you got to redo your card numbers and
the
whatnot.
worst.
But all right, well, next week we're going to talk a lot of prison talk. I want to tell stories about what it was like in prison, stuff like that. This week, after getting that dozer, we're excited. We're going to go celebrate a little
get
bit.
some videos of you working it.
We will
need
definitely
to do that.
I've got the Insta360 all the way to the passenger seat of my truck now.
That's good. You're making
Still
progress.
in the case.
Still
But
not
I'm
on any
working
equipment.
I'm working on getting it out there to the equipment. It's just hard to get the camera out and start recording when all I want to do is hop on there and get to work.
Yeah.
I'm always a busy man, so. All right, guys. Check back in next week. Reckless Success. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up. You can follow us on TikTok and YouTube at reckless.success. Instagram at recklesssuccess. We're on Spotify and all major podcast services. Hit that subscribe button, please. For more information on May Excavating, check out our website or TikTok. That's a wrap. Thanks.